Don't worry, in case you missed today's hearing on the IRS scandal, there will be many more. There will be endless hearings on this, at least it seems. The next ones are already scheduled for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. This is the new story that the Republicans and even the Democrats this time are going to make their obsessive 24-hour-a-day investigative reason for living from here on out. And they have time to do that in part because the other scandal that the Republicans have been obsessing on and trying to wring for all it's worth for months now has kind of fallen apart in the last few days. More specifically, it's actually just taken a really hard turn in the past few days. It was this time last week when the Benghazi scandal finally crossed over into a mainstream concern, right? Instead of just fueling all caps, exclamation point, misspelled fundraising chainmail letters on the right. It was this time last week when ABC News finally blew this story wide open. And when I say they blew this story, I mean seriously, they totally blew it.
Now to the White House, challenged today during a leadership crisis. A crisis about what the president did on Benghazi, and we're talking about 8 months ago when 4 Americans died. ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Call broke the story that created a storm today.
You know, he did create a storm. The ABC report on Friday caused all 3 network newscasts to report on the scandal of Benghazi. It's not just for Fox News anymore and talk radio. It's ABC News and CBS News and NBC News. It's all of cable news. That was Friday. And then Sunday morning, oh boy, it was all 4 Sunday morning talk shows. ABC and NBC and CBS and Fox News Sunday, all leading with Benghazi. Wow, thanks, Jonathan Karl. Thanks, ABC. Now this is the biggest story in the country because of these damning emails that ABC News said it had obtained.
Saying in an email obtained by ABC?
Obtained by ABC. This is ending up being the key point there. An email obtained by ABC? ABC said overtly that they had obtained these damning White House emails. And then in their reporting, which again blew this whole story into a national mainstream news story for the first time ever, which has taken a week to even start to dissipate, ABC printed what they said were direct quotations from these emails that they said they had obtained. We now know that ABC had not obtained emails because the emails they were supposedly directly quoting from were actually obtained by other reporters and then published publicly as part of a big document dumped by the White House. ABC bizarrely decided to update their story but not correct it. They decided not to apologize for it or retract this false thing that they published. What turns out to be the most interesting question in all of this, besides when the heck is ABC going to correct this, the most interesting question in all of this turns out to be, well, if ABC was not quoting real White House emails, they said they were quoting real White House emails, they were not. What were they quoting? And now it turns out we can piece that together from all of the other news agencies trying to reverse engineer this disaster, this false story that went totally wrong this week. What is now apparent is that the same cooked-up, false account of something that was supposedly said and done by White House officials in the aftermath of Benghazi, that false account was written by what various reporters describe as congressional and Republican sources. Hey, I think I found the actual scandal. This is how NBC put it. Congressional sources discussed with NBC News a report compiled by House Republicans that examines a series of emails concerning when and how talking points were crafted about the Benghazi attacks. That itself, congressional sources discussed with news agencies, a report compiled by House Republicans, that kind of sourcing itself is not a scandal. This becomes a scandal when we learn subsequently that that report that was given to reporters was a false report. It made up something that the White House supposedly did that the White House did not do. And they shopped that false report to ABC News, and ABC News bought it hook, line, and sinker. They published it as an exclusive. And all the Beltway media and all the national media and everybody in politics jumped because now this finally seemed like a scandal. Oh, that's what the right has been so upset about. But the scandalous part of it was this idea that the White House got in right after the Benghazi attacks happened and started bigfooting the whole process to make sure that the State Department would look good. That's the scandal. That's what was supposedly this big bombshell that ABC broke on Friday. And that scandal that the White House weighed in the talking points to make the State Department look good, that did not happen. That only happened in the cooked-up dossier that Republicans in Congress wrote themselves that they said was the work of the White House, and then they shocked it to the press. And yeah, part of the scandal here is a press scandal. You know what? When you get used like this and you end up publishing false information, false quotes, you have to correct it. But the bigger scandal here is not a process matter. It's not a press matter. It is this very stark fact that somebody in Congress right now, or somebody working for somebody in Congress right now, a staffer, concocted a big lie to try to make the White House look very desperately bad on this Benghazi scandal that they otherwise have not been able to get traction with. Who told the lie? I have a note to my journalist pals who got involved in this scandal. If your source lied to you, they are not actually a source. They are a con artist, and you are their victim. It means you don't have to protect them anymore. They're not a source. When you get lied to, when you are a tool of somebody else's deception, when you get lied to, the person lying to you is no longer a source. They are news. Their lie to you is itself news, and you can report that news. Republican congressional offices shopped a false dossier as if it was White House emails. That is the story. The office and the staffers and the members of Congress maybe who did that, that is news. And if you know who it is, you can say so.